Okay, so in this video we're going to be having a look at 2D arrays. Now, if we just remind ourselves what Cambridge said in the last video, so they say we need to be able to declare, but not 1D arrays this time, 2D arrays. Okay, so we need to be able to declare and use both. We also need to be able to understand the use of arrays. So if you can't remember that, you can look back at the one-dimensional array video. And then we also need to be able to write values and read values from arrays using iteration. So that is 1D arrays and 2D arrays. Okay, so let's have a look at how we declare an array using pseudocode, although this isn't really about pseudocode, it's more Python. But we'll have a look at how we declare it, which is very, very similar, if not almost identical, to a 1D array. We use the word declare. We give the name, say that it's an array, and we give the lower bound and the upper bound, say what type of data it is. All right. So if you look at this as an example, we've got an example here, and we have 1, 2, 3 branches of a company, and we're holding the sales from 1, 2, 3, 4 quarters out of the year. So that means that this one would be January to March, this one April to June, this one July to September, this one October to December. And then we have branch 1, branch 2, and branch 3. So if I want to see branch 2 sales from April to June, I can look here. Okay, now I can store this information in something called a 2-dimensional array. Right, where each row has its own spot in the array, and then within each row we have an index that will tell us where in each row we have. Okay, so I'm just going to scroll down and we can have a look at this in pen before we start in Python. So if I was to say make a list, and we call it, let's say, class results. And this 2D array is going to hold class results from exams throughout the year. So we're going to have people's names in here. Maybe we have Bob, and then maybe Jill, and then let's go Beth. And then within this we have the first exam, their second exam, the third exam, and their fourth exam. So we're going to have something a bit like this. We can look at it as a table. So if I want to say, so if I fill this out now, I'm just going to use random numbers. Let's say 20, 24, 60, 72, 40, 61, 12, and 80, 55, 72, 81, and 90. Okay, so if I want to say if I want Beth's result for her fourth exam, I can look here. Now I can show this in Python by creating an array, and then, but instead of just, if you think back when we made the names array, I did this, and then I filled in the names in speech marks, and then I put a comma in between each one to show that it was a new element in the array, and then I closed the array. Right, now it's almost exactly the same as that when you create 2D arrays, but the only thing is I'm going to put in the main list, I'm going to populate that main list with lists themselves. So if I was to say class results, and then I'm going to open my main array or list, and then within that I'm going to open a mini list, and then in there I'm going to put, for the first position, all of Bob's results. So 20, then a comma, 24, then a comma, 60, then a comma, 72, then a comma, then end Bob's section of the list, and put a comma so I can move on to Jill's section of the list. Now I could write straight on there, but I'm running out of space on this paper, so I'm just going to put it underneath. Okay, so now I can write Jill's, and then 40, 61, 12, and 80. Then close Jill's section of the list, put a comma, and go on to write Beth's, and then go on to write, and then, well, I'll finish off because there's only one more. So I'm going to write Beth's, so we can open Beth's section and write 55, 72, 81, and 90. Then I'm going to close Beth's section of the list and then close the list completely. Alright, so you can see here, if I get my highlighter, my main list is here. But within my main list, I also have, let's make that smaller, I also have lists opening and closing throughout. Okay, so I have one main list, which is the class results, and then I have within that main list, I have every student. Okay, so what does this mean? It means if I want to access, say, Jill's results, now remember, within the list in Python, the first is 0, the second is 1, and this one would be 2. So we have 3 rows in this list, but the first row always starts at 0 in Python. Alright, just remember that, because when I declared it in pseudocode before, I declared it as 1. Now remember, you can choose to use 1 or 0 in pseudocode. If you want to stick with 0, because we're used to using 0 in Python, that is perfectly fine, you can do that. Okay, so now if I want to access, let's say, Jill's results, all I need to do is write the name of the list that I've got, which is class results, and then the position Jill is in, which is position 1. Okay, so I could write class results and then position 1, and that would print out all of Jill's results. Okay, so this reference here matches Jill. Okay, Bob's matches the first one, and Beth's matches the last one. Okay, so let's move over to Python, and we'll have a look at how this works when we're coding. So if I close that down, and I just open up my Python, which I've already made, and the first thing we're going to do is create the results. Okay, so name of the list, class results, and make it equal to, I'm going to open my first main array bracket, and then straight away I'm going to open the one to hold the first student, which I think was Bob, but it doesn't really matter at the moment because we're just putting in the results. So 23, 56, again this is just random, 33 and 12. Then I'm going to close for the first student and then put a comma and then start for the second student. Let's go 55, 77, 66 and 50. Then close for the second student. And then finally I'll put one last student in here, and we can have 45, 88, 99 and 66. Close for the last student, and finally close for the whole array. Okay, so you can see here I've opened my array and I've closed my main array, and within the array itself, within the list itself, I've got opening, closing for each set of results. Okay, now like I said before, if I was to say print and then class results, now first of all I could just print out the whole class results like this, and it will print out everything. Yeah, you can see along here everything's printed out. But I can also say print out class results at position 1. Okay, now I can print that, and you'll see it just prints out. And let's just move this so we can see we've got 55 matches with 55 here, 70 matches with 77 here, 66 matches 66 here, and 50 matches 50 here, because this is position 1 in the array. Okay, but imagine if I just want the student at position 1, but I only want one test result. So just like within the main array, the first test result starts at 0, and then 1, and then 2, and then 3. So if I want the third test result the student took, I don't put number 3, I would put number 2. Okay, so if I want the third one that the student took, I put number 2. And when I run this, it should show that I get 66. Right, and you'll see here, to the right side, I've gotten the result 66 because I printed class results from position 1, and then from position 1, number 2 in that little subsection. Okay, so remember, think of these as separate rows, and then think of each row in here as its own index. Okay, and if it helps you, you could always create the list more like this. It's more, in my opinion, it's more awkward to create, but it will run no problem. You'll see, not a problem. The Python will know that you're creating a list and it's in between these main brackets here. So if that helps you visualize it better, by all means write it like that. Okay, I personally prefer it this way. Maybe it's just because I'm used to using it this way. So I'm just going to keep it like that. Okay, so now that we've done that, I can also say, if I create a 1D list, so let's just call this pupils, or pupil names. And I'm going to make it equal to, and we've got 3 sets of scores, so I'm going to put 3 pupils in here. So let's just go with Bob for position 1, and then Jill, and let's change it up a bit. I'm going to put Andy for the last position. And then I'm going to close my bracket. So I've got the results of every student here, and then I've got the student names here. So position 0 in my pupil names will match position 0 in my class results. All right, so I could use the print function here to say print, and then maybe say pupil names at position 0 for Bob, and then in speech marks say got the following test results, and then comma, and then put class results, and then in here put the same reference as I put for the first one. So what's important for this bit is that the reference I put in here is the same as the reference I put in here. Okay, so now when I run it, I should get, hopefully, Bob got the following test results, and then it will say 23, 56, 33, and 12. So let's have a look. Okay, so Bob got the following test results: 23, 23, 56, 56, 33, 33, 12, and 12. Okay, so we can also change that if I just want one test result. So I could say print pupil name at position, let's go for a different one now, let's go for position 1. Let's say got speech mark, sorry, got the following result for test 2, comma, and then I just say class results, and then here, let me close that speech marks, and then here it's where it gets slightly different, because I need to put, I'm looking for pupil 1, so I'm going to put pupil 1 here. Okay, and then I'm going to close the square brackets and then open another square bracket, and then I'm going to say whereabouts. So I'm looking for test result 2. So remember, this is test result 1, so this is test result 2. So that's 0 and 1 for here. So I'm going to put 1 there, and then close that, and then close my print. So hopefully I will get, for pupil name at position 1, I will get Jill got the following result for test 2, and then it will print me out what she got for test 2, which should be 77. So let's run that and have a look. Okay, oh, what did I get? Have I mistyped something there? Last results. Yeah, I should have seen that. Okay, let's try that again. All right, so you've got Jill got the following results for test 2, 77. So let's have a look. Test 2 for Jill, 77 here. So we know that works. All right, I'm just going to delete that now, just so it doesn't keep running all the time. And now we can also, if we imagine that the students take a 5th test, okay, so I could say class results at position 0 dot append, and then say what I want to append with this last result. So I'm appending Bob's first, and I can say Bob got 77, and then close that, and then just to see it I can print class results. I'll just close that so we can see it properly, and I'll run that again. You can see, so if you look in this first one, 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's the 77 that I added in, and the rest only have 4. Okay, so if you imagine, if I was going to write this program, I would have to keep writing class results at position 1 dot append, class results at position 2 dot append, class results at position 3 dot append, and it's not the best way to do it. Okay, so what we can do here is make a loop and say something like, and imagine, just to start off with, I'm just going to say that all the students got the same results, okay, just so we can see it, and then we can build on that. So I could say for I in class result, so for I in class results, and then I want to do the following, and I could say class results at position index I. Hopefully this works. And then we can say dot append, and we'll just say they all got 50 marks. All right. So hopefully when I run this, maybe I'll have to change it a little bit, we'll see. But hopefully I will get, when I print this out the next time, 50 added to the end of every result. Okay, so let's just have a look. Print class results. And then, oh, what have I got? Did you mean class results or class results? I can't see what mistake I made there. Just give me a second, I can't see what I've done here. Class results, it's in name class result is not defined. I've missed an L off somewhere. Where is that? Here. Okay. Let's have a look. Index is not defined. Let's have a look. Okay, I think we'll change that. We'll call it a count, and if we create a count variable here and make it equal to 0, and then we count up through it, so count is equal to count plus 1, and then hopefully it will add this 50 to the end of each array. And yes, okay, so you got here at the end of every array, we've appended it with 50. Okay, So what if we wanted to add a specific person or set of results to this array? Okay, so first of all, sorry, I've just activated Siri by mistake there, so turn off. Okay, so first of all, what I would do is I would probably want to know who it is I want to add to the list. Okay, so if I say maybe new student is equal to input, and then enter what is the name of the new student, and then in here we can put, quite simple in this one, we can just say pupil name is equal to, and then say, sorry, pupil name at position, so pupil name dot append, sorry, and then we can say new student. Okay, now that will append, and whatever the new student was entered here, it will append it to the student name list. Okay, and then what we need to be able to do is add the pupils' results in at the end. Okay, so maybe we want to just say something like, what was the name of the list again? Class results. And then say class results dot append, and then at the end of the append list just put the students' results in, so 34, 55, 66, something like that, and then close square brackets and then run it. Actually, let's print them both now, and then we can just say print people name, and then also print class results, so we can see the results in there and the new people. Okay, so let's enter the name of the new student I want to reserve. Let's say Richard, and then print, and then Python. Okay, let's have a look. Did you mean people name? Have I made another type of mistake? My typing isn't very good today, is it? People names. Okay, so people names dot append, and then people names here. Okay, so let's have a look, see what I've got. What is the name of your new student? Let's say Rich, and then you can see here, if I just move my screen up, we've got Rich at the end here, and then we've got the results that we wanted to append here, 34, 55, and 66. If we just double check, 34, 55, and 66. Okay, so you can see here that the commands and the functions of an array are the same, whether it's a 2D array or a 1D array. But what you just have to get used to is the referencing. Okay, so the biggest thing to remember is that position 1 in a 2D array is the whole set of data for that first position. And then within that position, you have a separate index to tell you what position you're in. Okay, so this here would be 0 at position 1. Okay, and when you're doing that, if I want to print it, I reference it by opening and seeing the position. So let's go with position 1, and then close it, and then open another bracket and see I want position 3 within position 1. Okay, So if I do this, there's no comma in between, and these don't need to be within separate brackets to group them together or anything like that. It just needs to be within. The first one represents the whole section of the list, and the second one represents the individual index of the list. Okay, so I'm going to stop the video there because it's been quite long, and if you need any more help with 2D arrays, you can come and ask me or have a check at the class PowerPoint on the class website.